What's up, guys? That got the pencil here, and here we are to rank the gods of Record of Ragnarok. We got a lot of gods to rank today. However, once again, just like with the human ranking, I'm not going to be including all of them. There are too many gods to actually notate, and I don't want to fill this list with a whole bunch of non-characters. So we're just going to be going over the ones that I consider to have actual characters, ones that I think are interesting, or ones that I think just deserve to be here because of the reasoning that they exist for long enough for me to actually remember them and consider them characters to actually talk about. Before we hop into this list ranking the gods of Record of Ragnarok, I'd please have to ask you to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, let's hop into this. I hate Aries. Aries is stupid. Aries is dumb in this series, bro. Like, here's the thing. I've seen a lot of interpretation of Aries. I've seen the DC interpretation of Aries. I've seen the DC movies interpretation of Aries. I've been a Percy Jackson fan for a very long time, so I've seen the Percy Jackson interpretation of Aries. All of these characters, all these versions of Aries, way better than this Aries. I don't know why they made the God of War so, like, God of Suck. I don't know. He's boring. Like, he's boring, he's stupid, and he's slow. Like, there's nothing good about Aries. Like, here's the thing. Record of Ragnarok, usually the thing I praise a lot about is designs. I think Aries has an intriguing design for what he's supposed to be, but I don't like it. It's well designed. I'm not gonna say that the mangaka didn't put their effort into it. However, I think Hercules, whoa, Aries. I mean, just because there was design and thought and everything put into his design doesn't mean I think it's good. Doesn't mean I think it's interesting. Doesn't mean I think Aries is very interesting. I don't like his backstory. I think him losing, well, basically getting ready to lose to Hercules off rip, it's really sad and really disappointing for his character. I think the fact that he couldn't see the punch that surpassed time despite him literally being a god of war and combat is pretty darn disappointing. I think him always being on the back foot in terms of everything, comprehending everything, boring. I think he serves the gear purpose except on the side of the gods, and just like I don't like gear, I don't like Aries. There's nothing for me to praise about him. I don't like his design, don't like his character, and while he does have moments like when he perseveres through and believes in Hercules and after the fact gives up all his crying and all his tears for his lost brother and just stands firm like Hercules would have wanted, I think that's fine. Still think he sucks. I don't know. He's not, that's the thing, he's not necessarily a bad character. There are worse characters in fiction, but in terms of the rest of the people on this list, the man just ain't interesting. I don't know. He doesn't do it for me. And yeah, that's really all I have to say about Aries. Let's move on to number 10. Alright, so like Odin kind of slaps, but at the same time Odin doesn't slap hard enough, right? So Odin's scheduled to fight. So obviously he's going to slap real hard in the future. But at the time of recording this, and at the time of how many chapters have been out, so chapter 41, I don't know. Odin has had moments that may be like, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh. Like I'm sort of interested, but it hasn't been enough. These moments weren't meaty enough. These moments weren't present enough. And while he has this fantastic design, I think for Odin it works really well because it goes between the balance of like this old Norse warrior, which is what Odin is, and this wise old mage, which is also what Odin is. I like the balance. I like how most of the time Thought and Memory, his two crows, do a lot of the talking for him. I like that. I think his design's great. I love the eye patch. I think his hair, everything fantastic. I think his moment where he laughs and his aura gets riled up after seeing the conflict between Buddha and the rest of the gods, I think that's really cool. I think everything with how he shows up and instantly knows it's Loki when Thor, quote unquote, goes and grabs the crows and rips them apart. I think all that's really cool. And I think his presence where he just flexes and suddenly everyone's like, whoa, bro. Actually, maybe you could relax, and you know what? Never mind. You don't have to relax. I'm gonna relax. I'm gonna back away now. I think all that's cool. However, in comparison to those above him, I feel like not necessarily that he doesn't have enough intrigue to him, not that he has enough interest, but I don't know. I just feel like very disconnected from Odin, and I feel like I need to wait to see more of him, which is weird because I've gotten a lot of Odin, and I like what I've seen so far, but I don't like it enough that I'm willing to put him any higher, if you know what I mean, right? Like, he's good, but he's not good enough to go higher on the list. But that's really about it. Odin, you're pretty cool. Let's wait and see for more from you, though. Moving on to number 9. Alright, so you may be wondering why Rudra's here. And Rudra's here because Rudra slaps. Alright, so here's the thing. The moment I saw Rudra show up at the fight with Shiva after he had disappeared from all of India, I'm like, gosh darn it, Shiva's gonna win. But at the same time, I still had hope for Raiden. But Rudra showing up, I was just like, man, while it would be cool if Shiva lost and Rudra only came back to see his friend die, at the same time, Rudra's probably going to give Shiva that emotional support, and Shiva's going to be like, sorry, Raiden, but I got to do it for the homie, bro. You know how it be. I got to do it back for my roll dogs back in India. And then he was going to win. And then that did happen. However, the reason I like Rudra so much is that Rudra feels very, very human. And Shiva points this out immediately when they're initially beginning their adventure. Like, Rudra, despite being, you know, the god of storms and all this amazing stuff, he has a dream. He has a goal to become the peak of India, except he couldn't because he was weaker than Shiva. So he goes off on his own journey, and he comes back at the end of it all, really, the Record of Ragnarok, and he decides to just watch over and give his support to Shiva after being gone for years and likely not giving any support to Shiva at all. Rudra was likely on his own training journey, and I think the reason I like Rudra so much is, one, he has a fantastic design. Even his initial design where he's literally just in the pants and he has all the tattoos on him, I think that's cool. I think his hairstyle is really, really cool. All that's great. But I really, really, really like his redesign when he comes back after all these years. His new, like, traveler's outfit, it's fire. That thing slaps. Like, I don't know. Is that just me? Or does Rudra look fire now? Like, legitimately amazing design. So his great design, his very, very human sort of beliefs and dreams, and how he was willing to realize that, you know what, I'll hold this L for you, Shiva. Go ahead, you become peak of India. I'm gonna dip out for a little bit. I'm gonna go back, become stronger, and maybe I'll take it away from you one day. He doesn't say any of that, but you can tell in the way that Rudra submits that he does still want that goal. He still does want that dream, but at the moment he understands that Shiva is better and he's gonna go out and work for it. And when Shiva needs his help, the moment he needs it the most, Rudra was there for him. Rudra was the homie. I think that's why I like him more than Odin and Aries. I feel like Rudra is much more personal, much more interconnected, and I really want to see his story, like his backstory in particular, mainly on his journey, because we know his backstory a bit. He just grew up with Shiva, but I want to see more. I think that's the good note of a good character, where I want to see more than what I've already gotten, and I think he's really, really good. I think he's really relatable. And I think his design's max. That's really it. Rudra just smacks. I was trying to make a fire pun, that's Shiva's thing. So let's move on to number 8. Alright, so Hercules is mad boring. Or Heracles, whichever you want to call him. He's just mad boring. Like, there's nothing here, or Alcides, technically, if you want to go with his original human name. However, Hercules is just so boring to me. And here's the thing, his design is great. I like the tattoo, I like the armor, I love his club that shapeshifts with him as he activates the different labors. I think his backstory of fighting with Aries, as much as I don't like Aries, is really, really cool, especially because it leads to us seeing more Zeus, and Zeus is fire. So I think all that's fine. I just think Hercules himself is boring, because Hercules himself isn't so much a character, he's much more a symbol. And while symbols can work, I don't think Hercules works, or Heracles. I'm gonna flip back and forth, because of he just becomes so flat. Like, he has nothing in himself outside of justice for the weak, except I have numerous problems with Hercules that I'm going to talk about in the future. So I won't necessarily bog this down too much with all of them. But yeah, Hercules just doesn't do it for me. I think his one-note personality trait about being all for justice isn't very entertaining. I think his brute, I don't think, I just swing big club very, very hard till you die, Jack, despite Jack being a master tactician, is super boring. Like, it just does nothing for me. Hercules was a wall, much less a character, and I don't think, that doesn't do for me well. Why is he above those above him? Because he actually had a fight, and I think his design is really, really good, and I think all of his attacks are really, really cool. But he doesn't have that little extra sauce, that little extra drizzle of spice that makes me like him a lot. And that's why he stops here. So let's move on to number 7. Alright, so I know I'm not the only one who's like terrified of Hermes. Like, Hermes is built of something completely different than the rest of the gods. I don't know. I feel like he going around smacking Zeus up too. Nah, he ain't that strong. Maybe, but I don't know. Does Hercules just like, not Hercules, why am I mispronouncing some of the god's name? Does Hermes like unsettle anyone else? Is this just me? I feel like here's the thing, his design schmacks. It's flames, bro. The butler outfit, it's such a different portrayal to what I'm used to when I think of Hermes. But him being the herald of Zeus, all that makes sense. Everything he does makes sense, you know, god of speed, so it makes sense when he sees certain things that Aries couldn't. But like, he has this very unsettling nature to him for multiple reasons. Like, he shows up, he understands the whole volume concept and explains it to the audience and to Zeus. He understands everything that happened in the fight between Zeus and Adam when Aries himself, you know, God of War, couldn't do a thing about it, couldn't understand it. He's the only one who seems like super unfazed by both Poseidon and Hercules' death. He just seems not to care. And it's kind of impressive, but also scary. Like, Hermes seems unnaturally disconnected from the entire affair. Like, it seems like he's looking at it from a higher plane that doesn't really care about who lives, who dies, who wins, who loses. He's just there to observe. He gives me, like, if y'all have watched Dragon Ball, he gives me like very much Grand Prix / Whis vibes. Like, he doesn't truly care what happens. He's just there for the fun. And if something bad happens, oh well, it's not his problem. It's just, he unsettles me. And I really, really like that, because it's, honestly, out of all the gods, he gave me the most unsettling feeling from the moment he was introduced. Once he was introduced as Hermes, I double take, like, huh? Because he has this just, the such restrained and refined design goes against what I normally think of for Hermes. And not only that, just the disconnect he has from the world itself is what throws me into disorientation. But I really, really like him for that. He provides a different taste to all the other gods, and it's really, really good. Only reason he's not any higher is just because of his limited screen time, and I don't know. As good as the unsettling different taste is, I'm not fully on board with it yet. I need to see more of Hermes, see more of why he's like this before I can start putting him higher above these other characters. So, he's really, really good. He is sitting solidly at number 7. But he can't reach any farther just yet. But I'm confident. I feel like Hermes is going to do some stuff in the future that we aren't ready for. Because realize he's the one who instigated Adonis's death. So it's just really, really good. Let's move on to number 6. Alright, so Loki confused me initially. Loki hit me with a whole trap vibe. Man looks like a girl. I ain't going front, bruh. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. I looked at him, I'm like, is that a him? Is this? And this is the thing. I know Loki in the past has transformed into females, so I'm guessing this androgynous design works well to portray that. However, still confused me. Confused the person who recommended me to read Record of Ragnarok in the first place too. Confused both of us. We were both double taking, like, huh? We were a little bit concerned, a little bit worried, but that's neither here nor there. It's still a good design, and I think his shape-shifting, I wish it was used more, but I think it's used well enough for now. I love how he has this almost light and airy presence to him. He's one of the few gods that, like, uses godly abilities almost on a consistent basis, from his transforming to his flight to his light, airy movement. All of Loki seems inherently inhuman in a sense. And I'm not necessarily sure of the continuity of Record of Ragnarok, because obviously it changes a lot of things in mythology, but Loki really isn't Odin's son or uncle or whatever Loki calls him in this. He's obviously a frost giant that was made to the god of mischief. However, I'm wondering if that's a misinterpretation of something I've read. But regardless, I think it's super interesting to see Loki almost like put pieces together. Loki is he's another character like Aries who explains things to the audience, but he does it in a much more interesting way. One of my favorite moments from Loki is when he forges the cups of both Adam and Zeus, and he just starts pouring and says, "Let's see who breaks first." And it's just a chilling moment where you know that Loki understands this battle on a fundamental level that a lot of the other gods are failing to understand. And that's really, really cool. Also really, really scary. And you know why Loki's this high. You know why. So it's war you want. Like, here's the thing. Loki going up and questioning Buddha at all. He did it. He did it. I'm proud of him, because he pulled up like, hey, yo. And that's what I like about Loki. He puts pieces together so well, since he's a man of mischief himself. So he goes up to Buddha and is like, you know, the only way this Volund mess is even possible is for, you know, the humans and the Valkyries to combine their souls. But the only way for people to combine their souls is through that unison way that you do, that shared destiny. Buddha, are you the traitor? And I'm just like, ooh, traitor. And that's the thing. Well, my thing with a lot of traitor plots in any sort of fiction is that they're like alluded to or they're said, but characters really do anything about it. They really don't go and question characters immediately. But no, Loki introduced the idea of a traitor clearly immediately just to Buddha. Like, the traitor plot didn't even exist in my mind. I just accepted Volunds as a part of the things that Valkyries could do, but through Loki doing that, he instantly made this series like 10 times more interesting. So I respect him for that. Great. He's scheduled to fight. The way he pulls up and is like, yo, 7 Luck guys, chill. The executioners of heaven, relax. He's my prey, so I will cut him down myself. Like, it's these moments that Loki has that makes you go like, whoa. Like, he has this very thin, frail looking design, but you can tell by the sheer presence he has. He makes the other 7 Luck gods recoil. He makes Buddha laugh. Like, all these different things that Loki does, super good. Great design, great character moments so far. He's the cause of one of my favorite moments in the series. Made the series 10 times more interesting with the traitor plot. All of it very good. Only reason he's not higher, it's just he hasn't had his fight yet. That's the only thing. He hasn't had his fight yet. And as interesting as Loki has been, I haven't necessarily seen enough layers to him for me to really like put him higher. But really, I'd say number 6 is a really solid. Oh my. Number 6 is a really solid spot. So let's move on to number 5. Alright, so Buddha also confused me and the person who I was reading Record of Ragnarok with, because we both thought, is that a female? But neither of us, we were wrong again. However, that's perfectly fine, because Buddha? Okay. There's something, in the other video where I ranked the humans, I talked about like this Chad energy, like this alpha dog presence of a person having. And there's something, when I say that Buddha is constructed in a biologically different manner than the rest of the characters that I've seen, he saw the 7 executioners of heaven come pull up to him, and the first thing he did was mock them. He had Loki pull up to him and accuse him of being a traitor, and the first thing he says with a big old grin on his face is, "So what if I am?" Like, it takes confidence, because like, you gotta realize, the Buddha is the traitor. He's not just gonna be fighting Loki. He's not just gonna be fighting the 7 Luck gods. He's gonna be fighting Zeus. He's gonna be fighting Odin. He's gonna be fighting all these different gods that are still alive. And there are other gods that I just really want to see, like Hades, that we just haven't gotten mentioned yet. And I feel like that's on purpose. I feel like we haven't gotten Hades mentioned, because I feel like that's gonna be a big thing. But regardless of that, Buddha knows the implications of him being a traitor. But rather than being scared of it, he is so intrigued. He gets excited. He seems so passive and just bored and lackadaisical at first. He has this really calm, almost I really don't care sort of personality introduction. But then when the interesting offer, that enticing concept of, me being a traitor, that sounds interesting. It sent shivers down my spine seeing that, because it's like, the implications of Buddha's like positive energy towards this waking Buddha up, getting him to open his eyes. It's minor stuff, but it's stuff that hits really hard. And of course, he just flexes on one of the 7 Luck gods. They pull up to him point blank, put a gun in his face, and Buddha's like, man, that was a good swivel of my neck. And then he just says, hey, yo, where you aiming, bro? Don't be childish. You destroyed the fountain. What's wrong with you, Chief? You need to relax. Is there anything like? He's an executioner. His purpose is to kill other gods. He just didn't care. Buddha just didn't care. And here's the thing. Buddha is so indifferent that when all these other humans pull up to help him, he doesn't say a word. He's just like, hey, yo, bet. I know we on different planes, but I'm built different, so we about to do this mess. And of course, one of my favorite moments, the entire series, it got Soji on the list, got Sami Kondo on the list for humans. One of my favorite moments that boosted Sasaki so much. So it's war you want. And Buddha just says, you bet. It's like, I'm not sure who's gonna voice Buddha. I would love to, but I'm not sure who's gonna voice Buddha. But I feel like Buddha has almost this, like, he has a really drained voice, but this high energy to him whenever he comes through. Because just the way he's drawn, it conveys such energy, and I love it. Buddha's just fantastic. And of course, favorite moment that puts him this high, like, him and Loki are almost interchangeable for me, but the moment that gave Buddha this spot, the moment that punched Loki out and said, "Mine, boy," was when Zeus pulls up. He stops the conflict, he punches the ground, everything splits apart, Odin flexes, everyone's scaring off, and Buddha's just chilling. He's just standing there like, we're really about to have some fun. And Zeus walks up to him. Zeus, godfather of the cosmos, the leader of the council of the gods. It's like, "Hey, yo, time for you to get out of here too. And don't you go around here causing no more mess. Understood?" And Buddha laughs. A good Then he seriously just crunches up, bites through his lollipop, and goes, "The only person on both heaven and earth that can move me is myself." I'm just shook. Like, the shivers don't describe I was in the Arctic for a good 5 seconds as I read that, and he just walks off. He walks off on his own volition, and you can tell he just doesn't care. Buddha does not care. The alpha energy, it's exuding. And I'm telling you, when Buddha fights, if he does fight, I have a theory. I feel like he may not. I feel like he may just be like, "Deuces, I'm not fighting. You may have scheduled me here, but I ain't about to do this to my peoples." I feel like it is going to be so interesting. He's definitely going to shoot up. He's definitely going to shoot up, because if he's this high already, I can't imagine how far he could go. That's it. I feel like I've been talking about Buddha way too much. I'm definitely still going to make a video on him because he's just fire. But moving on from number 5 to number 4. Would you look at that? Number 4 is the son of a boar named Thor. Hey, oh, okay. Thor's really, really good. I made an entire video on him, made a pun. I like the pun. I bet others didn't. But Thor is super, super shocking, and I enjoy him a lot. However, as great as his design is, as fire as his hammer is, as fire as his fight is, as great as everything is, we haven't gotten enough of Thor for me to really place him higher, for me to really edge him up above other competitors. As cool as Thor's backstory is, a big part that I feel like I failed to mention in his video was the idea of him being so powerful that he just casually, this isn't something we see. His backstory is him just slaying a random bunch of giants, but he killed the world serpent, that a beast that wrapped around the earth and threatened to crush it. He slaughtered in one move. Thor is the sort of character that you bring out when you need something done. Like, thing is, a lot of these other gods, they'll play around, they'll mess around, they aren't super direct with all their intentions and their real feelings. Thor doesn't have time for that. Thor doesn't really care about that. Thor has come to get the job done and be over with it. And that no nonsense, I came here not to play but to annihilate you from existence, that kind of energy that Thor has is really, really good. And also, I like when that energy gets recontextualized into Thor, the battle-hungry warrior, the person who desires a rival, something that he could never have. I like that a lot. It's a really good flip on the character, but he still has that same I have no nonsense, I'm about this action kind of energy. All of it's really, really good. I think his weapon's cool. I think his backstory is honestly sort of lacking, and that's the only real issue I have with Thor, is his backstory, and that we haven't gotten more of him. That's it. Other than that, Thor smacks in every single way, shape, and form. It's just that the people above him either have something that pushes them just a bit higher than Thor in one way or another, or we've gotten just a little bit more of them than I expected. And that's what really does it. That's what locks Thor at 4, which happens to be a rhyme, and I do it all the time. Stop. Moving on to number 3. So Poseidon slaps, and I will hear no arguments. I need all y'all Poseidon haters to go sit down somewhere, because it's not me. We are not enough of the Poseidon slander. But Pencil, he's boring. But that's not it. I need y'all to go reread that fight. I know it came out a while ago. Please go reread it. It's still fire. It still slaps harder than that freight train. Not harder than that freight train. Harder than that airplane. It's going insane in the membrane. Come on, bro. Poseidon slaps. Why is Design's fire? Come on now. Tell me, like, honestly, if I'm being real and honest with y'all, out of all the gods' designs, something hits the most different about Poseidon. Like, I'm thinking, out of all the gods here, I'm thinking, even with Rudra's new drip, even with that boy Shiva's fantastic design, even with Thor's amazing, like, pre-outfit before it gets all destroyed and he goes into battle, and Buddha's weird design, I think Poseidon hits the most for me because it's so regal. It's so beyond this. It's so Poseidon. Here's the thing. The reason I like Poseidon so much is he didn't care. Poseidon never exhibited care. Poseidon never exhibited respect. Poseidon never exhibited anything but pure, malicious energy. And like, you know something's up when your fellow gods are praising you, saying, G-O-G, God of gods. And they're going, ayo, yeah, Poseidon, he's about to kill this human. And then Poseidon just looks back. Like, really, if we're being honest, I know these are gods, they may have advanced vision or something, but they should not have been able to see the look on Poseidon's face. But the moment Poseidon looked at them, they understood they're all dead. They're all dead. If we don't stop, we must stop. And there's a certain power you must have to be known as Zeus Analios, Zeus of the sea. And obviously, one of the biggest reasons I like Poseidon so much is not just because of his fire design, not just because of his alpha dog energy, but because of that backstory. There were once 13 Olympians, until Poseidon said no. And then every last god from Zeus to Aries was just like, okay, 13 Olympians? 13 who? There are 12. There are always 12. The authority you must hold to just really randomly execute. There was no discussion. There was no debate. Poseidon simply found Adamas distasteful, so he ended him in a single strike. Huh? The power of Poseidon is what puts him this high. The disrespect. And the thing is, if this was just all this, Poseidon may be a bit lower. Probably not, but he may be a bit lower. But what makes me like Poseidon even more is that once Sasaki lands that first hit, the grin that comes on Poseidon's face, no, not the grin, the fact that he looks Sasaki in the eye, something that Adamas, the older brother of Poseidon, wasn't privileged enough to receive until he died. Poseidon looked Sasaki in the eyes. He simply wiped the blood, saying, oh, we gonna have fun. And the thing is, Poseidon's tone shifted so much because Poseidon was so flat, he was calm, he was relaxed, he didn't look at anything, he didn't take anything seriously. But the moment his supremacy was challenged, his godhood was challenged, the switch flipped. We got this super interesting character that just, like, the inhumane nature of Poseidon is really highlighted in how he goes out. And I'm gonna talk about this more when I talk about the fight itself, because I do plan to talk about Poseidon versus Sasaki in depth. But what I love the most is how Poseidon doesn't stop. He gets his arm cut off, he doesn't care, grabs it, goes and swings anyway. He gets that other arm cut off, he doesn't care, bites takes his trident between his teeth and goes to swing on Sasaki. Sasaki has to cut him in half. So Poseidon was not going down easy. Poseidon was not going down in any way, shape, or form. He had to be executed. That was a full-on execution. There was nothing else that could have taken Poseidon down because he was going to keep winning, keep going no matter what. And that's just some alpha energy. I'm not even done. If I wasn't going to make a video about Poseidon, I would talk about him for like 20 more minutes. But we got to move on to number 2. Now, golly gee willikers, Does Zeus throw me off in this series? Alright, so I'm a Percy Jackson boy. I was raised up on that young Percy Jackson. So when I think Zeus, I think of this regal, refined man in a business suit. You know, he has some thunder behind him, all that good stuff. However, this Zeus isn't that. Thor clocked in and said, "Hey, Zeus, hope you don't mind. I'm stealing the lightning stick, so you ain't allowed to do that." And Zeus was like, "Hey, be like that when it be like that sometimes. I guess I gotta become the godfather of the cosmos." And here's the thing. What makes me like Zeus so much is first, let me just address his design. Zeus has, while not, in my opinion, the best design, I still think that may go to Poseidon out of all the gods. What Zeus has is the most dynamic design. Because when I saw Zeus, I'm like, huh? Why? What are we doing here? And why are we here? And why is this old man? And when I found out it was Zeus, I'm like, what? How? I had so many questions. But then once you see Zeus not even step onto the battlefield, when you see Zeus's arms swell up into the massive musculature it really is, and he crushes the dragon, and he smashes the entire area where the gods were discussing, and you just see him. Zeus is up this high because while Poseidon was arrogant, he was arrogant but appropriate about it. He knew he was the best and he acted that way. While Thor was arrogant, he was mainly bored. He just didn't really care about combat anymore because it lost its luster to him. Hercules, he was the pinnacle of justice or whatever. The rest of these gods, they were all, to a degree, in their own ways, they were these high and mighty beings that sort of held back certain parts of themselves and like didn't reveal themselves fully. But Zeus had no shame in the game. He did not care. Zeus wanted a fight, and that's all Zeus cared about. And seeing the way that Zeus just bullied Shiva, like bullied Shiva. He walks up the moment he hears, wait, who's fighting? Adam, the father of men. Hold on. He walks up to Shiva and says, "It's my turn now." And Shiva's like, Gramps, I'm going next. And Zeus just gently tells him again, "It's my turn now." And Shiva gets angry, like, "Hey, yo, Zeus, I don't know who you think you are, Gramps. I'm about to..." And Zeus, in base, just pulls him to the ground and just tells him one last time, "It's my turn now." The disrespect. Like, here's the thing. Poseidon not looking people in the eyes, that's disrespect on a different level. You know, you look people in the eyes to show respect. But taking the peak of India, the peak of Salarga, I don't know how to say that, I'm so sorry. But the leader of an entire pantheon and bullying him so explicitly. And then he honestly has one of my favorite introductions. Like, I don't know, something about his ballad of introduction into the war, and then seeing all of the humans be like, that's Zeus, what's going on? Having the same reaction as I did, only for Zeus to flare up to his full might. Those thighs, bro, he's thick, but the build up to this monster that Zeus really, really was. And just his fight with Adam. The thing is, I love that fight so much. That fight, fire. But my main thing about it is it really shows how the gods are just different. They're not in like a meme way, not in a joking way, but they're different. Zeus got his neck snapped by the fist that surpassed time, improved, and he simply rose up, fixed it, and said no. He was taking hits that were meant to kill Adam easily. He kept taking damage, sure, but he kept getting back up. And then there's something interesting to me about Zeus with the Adonis form, but I'm going to go more in depth about that separately in another video when I talk about Zeus on his own. But my favorite thing about Zeus is that after all of that, after his big old fight with Adam, after Adam loses and dies, my favorite thing is that Zeus gave up. You got to realize that. Despite Adam being dead, Zeus, the person who was so intrigued with combat and so ready to do anything, was ready to do anything to get that fight, gave up. Adam was ready to keep fighting. Adam's soul may have left him, he may have been dead, but it was Zeus who, despite wanting this so badly, gave up and gave respect. He put respect on Adam's name, and it literally admitted, Adam, if this was a contest of endurance, you would have won. And it's the respect that Zeus is forced to put on humanity's name that makes me like it so much. And seeing Zeus's like human reactions to the idea that, oh no, we can actually be defeated. Like seeing Zeus get shocked at Poseidon's death, and then seeing Zeus get infuriated at Hercules' death. All this super good. Definitely gonna talk about Zeus later in another video. But let's move on to number 1. Shiva slaps. Shiva slaps, Shiva slaps, he slaps, he slaps, he slaps. He has 4 hands. I'll hit you 4 times backwards. Now, why does Shiva slap so hard? This is going to sound mad contradictory, but I think the reason I think Shiva slaps so darn hard is because he's the most human god. And what I mean by this, he's not Buddha, he's not any of the Valkyries. What do I mean? What I mean is that he's not Hercules, but what I mean is that Shiva has this human air to him. All he really cared about was relaxing, living a good life, chilling, not really going crazy, not really going stupid, just having a good time, dancing, enjoying life. But then he goes along with his homie, his best bud, and he's like, yeah, you know what? As nice as my dream would be to just laze about and do nothing, fine, I guess I just can't leave you alone because you're an idiot and you'll probably go get slaughtered. So I guess I'll roll with you, you little stupid human dreaming looking. Like, he definitely bullies Rudra, but it's a bully in like a good friendship kind of way. And you see these two just progress through all of India till they reach the peak, and then you just see Shiva being forced to fight it out to the very end. And you can tell Shiva knows he's stronger. Shiva knows he's stronger, and Shiva also knows that if he really pushes himself to the limit, that Rudra will die. And he's just begging for Rudra to go down. He just doesn't want to kill his friend. And you can see how in the end he's just ready to give up. He's ready to sacrifice all that work, all that time, all that effort for Rudra. But then he's forced to become the peak of India when Rudra submits first. And seeing Shiva just sadly take up the mantle, like do it in his friend's stead, as he sacrificed something that he never wanted to give up in Rudra, all for the sake of something he never wanted, for stealing his friend's dream. It's so interesting. And my favorite thing about Shiva is how he was initially contextualized to us. Shiva was arrogant like all the other gods. He didn't seem to care. He seemingly had no morality. He was like, oh, these humans are fallen, and I'll slap them up myself. And it was just a really like boring, basic characterization, something you would expect from the gods of Record of Ragnarok. However, the way it shifts, the way we see like the old Shiva bit by bit creep out. Like I initially had a problem with how Shiva was like recharacterized out of nowhere. So I'm like, where did this come from? I don't see it. I don't see it anywhere. And well, I technically still don't see it. I don't see it in the beginning of the series, but with the new context of the backstory, I can understand how Shiva got to this point. He had to become the Shiva that we had seen because that was his job, basically. He was the peak, not by his own choice, not by his own admission, but because he had to. And technically, you can still really see Shiva, the not really arrogant god, but Shiva, the caring old man. Ganesha loves his old dad. Man has 3 wives that are all cheering and supporting for him. All the gods of India are ready and just like, yes, go Shiva, go Shiva. He has a crowd, he has a family, he has these burdens, and seeing that from a god is what makes it so intriguing. Seeing a person who is carried by such humanly desires despite being inherently inhuman, it's wonderful, it's beautiful, and it's the most realistic thing that I've seen out of all the gods. And I think that's why I like it so much. Shiva's build up, great. Shiva's design, fire, I don't know. Oh, she didn't have purple skin, but the purple skin is slowly growing on me, so I'm fine with it now. I don't know, I think it would have been cooler if he was brown, but that's just me, I may have a bias, you never know. So, yeah, Shiva, he just smacked. Like, that's the thing, I'm going to talk about Shiva. I'm definitely going to talk about Shiva, Zeus, Poseidon, Buddha, Loki, Hermes, Hercules, and Odin probably after his fight in the future, just because I think all these characters deserve their time in the sun with their own individual videos. But there we go, that's my top 11. Tell me what your top 11 is in the comment section down below. I know some of yours are going to be different than mine. I know some of my takes are going to be a bit weird. However, I enjoy talking about this. Hope to open the discussion to y'all. Can't wait to see what you guys think, and can't wait to see your list in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with a Pencil, writing out.